26. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready. Adoption of the agenda. I believe Terry wants to add something. So it's already on here.
Tiana's.
It's there, we just got more information for
We did. Anything else?
No.
Nope. Public comment? Nope. Select board announcements.
No, I'm good.
Oh, my God.
I just want to, but I do want to remind people, that those little signs, the business signs that are appearing are counter to our ordinance.
They are annoying. I'll give
Yeah,
you that.
they are annoying, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put them up. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. I mentioned last week that the Recreation and Community Services Director, Katie Neal, and I would talk about whether or not we had changes to propose to the board about the heating assistance program that the town runs. But we have since discussed our current program. We feel like there's enough flexibility written in at the moment to deal with, situations that may arise. But we are going to take a full look at it before next heating season to see if we will have some recommendations for changes at that point. So I wanted to report back to you on that.
Well, along that same line, if somebody, in the summertime, a lot of people heat their hot water with heating oil, and the price of it right now.
Yeah.
I think we should be really flexible. I don't think there should be an end to the heating assistance program. I think it should be year-round.
I'm in agreement with that.
Thing is, you can live without hot water, but you can't live without, heating your house. And things will freeze up and.
Do you want us to kind of address it as a kind of an exception right now, or, so we have more time to look at the entire program?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's-
okay.
Yeah.
I think that works for us at the moment. I don't know if Katie would like to add anything to that.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
I very much appreciate the flexibility that the policy currently has because we have served 25 new households this heating season. I was just exchanging numbers and information with Mark from the Santa Fund. And there is a huge need in this community, especially with the increase in heating costs. We get such a generous donation that allows us to be so flexible, and I would hate to run through resources in the summer that folks are so reliant upon in January and February. And also, I want to help someone in need and figure out creative ways, whether through my program, through the Topsom Wood, through the Santa Fund, through the local churches, to make sure that we meet needs throughout the year.
Great. Thank you, Katie.
Maybe lesser amounts, maybe 50-gallon in off-season. We'll talk about that stuff later.
Okay,
It's not the
but
best.
those are
We'll start.
ideas, and we do
Yeah,
want to take
yeah.
a look at that program. Yeah, okay. I think the only other issue is just to remind the board, and before you conclude your meeting tonight, we've got to set up some workshops, and one of them is on our cable TV franchise agreement meeting, an executive session actually with the attorney to go over where we're at. A second workshop with the group that has come together to look at the recycling center project. That's another workshop. And then typically you have a goals workshop that we set up. So I don't know what sequence you'd like. Am I hitting all the workshops? It seems like there's another one. Oh, comp plan. Thank you, Margaret. So
I know he does.
yeah.
I don't even want to
So,
hear that again.
Comp plan
Implementation plan.
Yes, right. Thinking about meeting with some of the former members of the comp plan committee, what your mission statement's going to be for the implementation committee, how many people you want to serve, whether you want certain committees represented. So we really need to create some time and space for that conversation. And I need some feedback on, which one's first, and, we can do one before your next Thursday meeting, which would be on the 23rd.
Sounds like other business to me.
And I do believe that Al LeGros, who chaired the comp plan committee, is really interested in meeting with the board to start talking about the implementation phase. So I think that is important, and the recycling center group is waiting to meet with you
Yeah,
too. So,
Yeah, we're going to take a few first steps in the recycling,
okay, so.
and then meet with those folks, and then whatever we hear from them, we'll take to the recycling group.
Okay. Maybe I can schedule the meeting with the attorney on the cable TV franchise for a non-Thursday. And like next week, I don't know if that's okay, we can talk about, or I can email you your schedules, what's
The way
open.
things are looking, the sooner the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then before your next Thursday night meeting, would you like that to be a 1-hour workshop with some members of the comp plan committee and
sure.
talk
Sure.
about how to move that forward? And then the other two we'll figure out. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with David, just assume get them done sooner than later, so
Okay,
even if we have
Yeah.
to schedule extra stuff, I'm fine with that.
okay, good.
It's easier now than in the summer.
That's
Yes.
true for you especially, yeah. Thank you.
Grant application for housing consultant.
Hey, Christy, back on that last topic, will the next meeting be when all the committee members are going to be appointed? 'Cause won't that be an extra long, isn't that an extra long meeting as it is?
Well, if they start at 5 and they spend an hour on implementation, they might have a 6 to 8 select board meeting.
Yeah.
I think
I just
that's
know that that
workable.
one's usually a marathon one, so if
Okay.
you had a
Yeah.
workshop before, it would be.
Not when
Yeah.
it comes to picking committee members. It
No, it just takes
That's-
time.
that's-
Yeah.
6 to 6:30. No.
I don't know if,
I'm fine with it.
You're
It's up
okay
to
with it?
these
Okay.
two.
Okay.
I'm
Right.
fine. I can make it work.
All right,
we'll just get through it.
all right.
Thank you.
So the Housing Opportunity Program, part of the Maine Office of Community Affairs, is offering municipalities up to $10,000 for adopting the recent legislation, mostly LD 1829. I've been before you previously to talk about hiring a consultant. The first round, grant round, you needed to identify the consultant before you could apply. Now you don't have to, so we're going to send out the RFP and apply for the grant all at the same time. And the consultant will just have to work within the $10,000. And the state really wants us to use the money towards housing, so we can use it for, if the consultant doesn't use all 10,000, we get to keep it. As long as we use it for administration, we can use it for advertising, public hearings, or we can also use it to look at other housing legislation, housing ordinances or housing policy. So we have to do the legislation, and then there's other things that we can do if we have extra money left over.
So this just tells, you tell them how you're going to use the consultant, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I move that we apply.
I second that.
No discussion? All in favor?
Go
Thank
for
you,
it.
guys.
And Margaret, is that a rolling grant program? So there's
It-
not a deadline and after which you hear?
It is and it isn't. So there was one round already. We're in the second round, and there'll be a third round, but it's dependent on funding.
Okay.
So this round, it's rolling until I think July, but they might run out of funding for this round before, so it just opened last week. So we've been preparing for it to open, so we're all ready to apply.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
I love grants. Love them.
Free money.
Yeah.
Ever look up the word
It's
free
still
though?
somebody's money.
It comes from
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, it came from another pocket.
We do pay federal taxes too,
Like
But
free
if we
education.
and state taxes.
If
Free
we don't
education.
apply
Yeah.
for it, someone else will.
Right, yeah.
This sounds familiar. Proposed amendment to animal control ordinance.
Weird.
For June 19th ballot.
Yeah, so this is a follow-up to the 5 o'clock workshop, which I thought was well-attended, and
Yeah.
people gave some really great comments to the board. We talked about what we're trying to accomplish with these amendments, and that is really to make it clear that the select board has the authority to set rules regarding dogs on town properties, and that you also will get the authority to establish penalties such as fines, and that this ordinance can not only be enforced by the animal control officer, but we're including that it can be a Cumberland County Sheriff's deputy or any person that you authorize by a formal vote. So those are the major changes to the ordinance.
Well, we've had our public hearing, so I move that we put it on the June 9th ballot.
Yeah, I second that.
Well, we'll have another public hearing.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
we will.
workshop.
Yeah.
The real public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All in favor?
thank you. I don't know if you had any comments. Okay.
Hey, you're more than welcome to
Yeah,
talk.
you hit. You did well hiding behind the podium. I didn't even see you.
I didn't either. I heard you. Cribstone Holdings lease for Harbor Master Office and berthing lease.
This is our second year. Our former harbor master, Paul Plummer, really talked about needing a central space for the town's boat and for the person who was the harbor master to have some ability to have some office space. And so the town worked out a lease agreement with Cribstone Holdings LLC. That is the company that's adjacent to Cook's Lobster on Bailey Island. It worked out very well last year. This is an 8-month contract running from April 15th to December 15th, and the monthly rent is $500. It allows us to have the boat on the dock there and then use of some office space.
I think that's a great spot. That's as central as you're going to get here. There's a couple of things on 13B and 14, the bottom of 14A. There's some penciled-in changes. So there's no initials or anything to say, so are these permanent changes? Who
I think we both
penciled
agreed
that
to
in?
them.
And
So it was identical to last year's. They were handwritten in last year as well.
Yep.
And it's prior to signature by both sides. And Mr. Ethan Morgan has agreed to the exact same contract as last year.
Okay,
So upon your signature, it'll be emailed to him tomorrow, and he's willing to sign it.
okay, well, I move that we go forward with that lease agreement.
I second it.
All in favor?
Thank you.
It's a good thing, because the boat was going to show up at the wharf today. They were launching the.
Oh,
Harbor
really?
Master
It's,
boat.
it's a little early, but it's okay.
Well, the sheriffs need it for some.
Yeah, they got water sampling to do.
Yeah, not till the 15th, though, so
Yeah.
I thought
But they don't want to launch it on the 15th and have a problem that day.
They were
14th would have worked, but anyways.
True.
I think Greg was out of town, so.
So we'll fill in that date.
Select
You're
a,
gonna have to sign it.
selection of banking institution for tax anticipation note financing.
So as the board is aware, this is an annual event. Since we are calendar year and tax payments do not come in until the fall, commitment doesn't even happen until the summer. And the board previously authorized me to send out a request for bids, sent out to 6 financial institutions. We received 4 responses back. 2 were incredibly close, 0.02% difference. But the recommendation before you this evening is to proceed with Androscoggin Bank for the up to $5 million tax anticipation note borrowing at an interest rate of 4.62% and on a lump sum or as needed. And we always do as needed to minimize our interest rates and pay it off as soon as tax payments start coming in. And you do have a formal motion, and you don't have to necessarily read the entire motion, but just know in the actual full motion itself, it has been completed with Androscoggin Bank.
Okay. Well, first of all, I move that we go with Androscoggin at 4.62%. Is Androscoggin still our regular bank?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes it handy.
My-
But I will read the whole motion. I move that the vote entitled Vote to Authorize Issuance of a Tax Anticipation Note for Fiscal Year 2026 be approved in the form presented to this meeting, and that an attested copy of said vote be included with the minutes of this meeting. I'm going to let you do that next time, Matt.
Fair enough. I'll second that this time.
All in favor? Oars Island Bridge Wharf Lease Policy.
So I think this came up at your meeting last week, and we were looking for some feedback. There are a couple wharfs at the Oars Island Bridge that are not apparently going to be used this upcoming season, and the town has a policy that allows a lottery process to occur. You already amended the policy so that people can submit letters of intent by the last business day in May, so that's been extended. It used to be April, but it goes to May now. I think the staff is looking further for the select board to decide if you want to establish some priority in the lottery in terms of, currently, there's language that allows a child of a current lessee to have first refusal. But we're not aware that there's anyone in that category, so we're not suggesting that you change that. But going to the lottery, did you want to have, you know, a Harpswell resident be a priority? And they have to have this commercial fishing license piece, so that's a
Or
requirement.
marine-related.
Or marine-related.
Marine-related.
Has to be for marine-related business, thank you. But we didn't know if you wanted to think about some type of
Well,
prioritization.
I kind of like the way that we do it with the clam diggers, that we give them, I mean, because
Yeah.
Harpswell property is so valuable and so expensive that the people are living up in Bodenham.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've had a history here, they have family here, and so if we handled it the same way we do with the diggers, which is,
Harpswell taxpayers.
Right, actual taxpayers, then ties to Harpswell,
yeah,
Yep.
and then
So what's your top priority category?
Harpswell taxpayers,
Or,
Yeah.
or resident.
resident taxpayers.
Well,
Oh.
resident or taxpayer?
A resident of over 5 years. That was one of the, things for clam diggers also.
All right, that's fine. And then do we do resident for less than 5 years?
Yeah. Then the applicant should be vetted by the,
I don't know if that says resident for 5 years. Darcy's memo had said as long as they have had strong ties
Right.
to Harpswell for at least 5 years.
right,
Does that mean
So-
lived in here for 5 years?
you know,
or strong ties. So Harpswell, if they've been fishing here, if they have relatives here, if they've been,
This was discussed a little bit at the Harbor and Waterfront Committee last night. And one thing that they, kind of recommended was that the board does kind of vet, whoever wins the lottery type of thing, or the applicants for the lottery, you know, to make sure that they're.
see, that's the chicken before the egg. Before the name goes in the lottery, they should already be vetted.
Right, that's what
Right.
that's what they were recommending,
Oh,
is
okay.
that we
Yeah.
look at them before they go in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
because otherwise,
Saying
if
the
they
same
don't,
thing then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
if they
I
don't
just said
meet
it
the,
wrongly.
if they don't match up, then they've got to do the lottery again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So your first priority is Harpswell taxpayer or
Or
re-
is it resident or taxpayer of over 5?
of over 5 years, but,
I don't think we really need to
don't need
get
a
into
time?
the
Okay.
time thing, do,
Right.
do you?
Okay.
right. And then next is somebody who has had strong ties to Harpswell for at least 5 years?
Yeah, see, we ran into that with the harvester's license, because we allowed some of the harvesters who were living here, who couldn't afford to live here, live out of town.
Right,
But as long as they've been
Because
living in
language.
Harpswell for
I'm gonna
5
look
years,
it up.
yeah.
they can get their license.
I'm fine with something like that. And then it could,
Can you clean it up so it's not too,
yeah.
too
How do we
convoluted?
clean it
Too
up?
blubbery?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
the-
think,
Yeah.
I think we all think the same thing. If it went taxpayer resident, and then people that had some attachment to Harpswell or had lived in Harpswell at one time, and then people, non-residents would be after that.
With a commercial fishing license
Yeah.
at all times.
That's.
Well, with
but
a
that's covered.
marine-related.
Yeah,
Marine
that's
related,
covered,
yes, thank you.
no matter
Marine-related,
what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't care what it is.
The third one was non-resident marine, still, everybody has to have the marine-related.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, all
Yeah.
marine-related. So category number 1 is resident or taxpayer, it doesn't matter, because you could be renting and living here or paying
Right.
taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then 2 is attachment to Harpswell, strong ties to Harpswell for at least 5 years.
Yes.
Yep,
And then 3 is a non-resident category.
yep.
They all have to have this marine or commercial thing. You don't think we wait and pick them, and then you decide if those 2 that are picked meet the standards?
Oh.
It seems,
Oh,
Well,
I think they should be vetted before the name goes in the
I think
hat.
so too.
Because
I
otherwise
think
we'll have
that
to do the drawing again,
so
if
what is
not-
the
not-
vetting based on,
they don't
though?
meet it.
No,
That they
usually they
meet those
draw,
qualifications.
they draw the whole
Criteria.
order.
That criteria.
Yeah, and something that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. There's gonna be a lottery just for the residents and taxpayers first?
If you're gonna, that's how the shellfish is handled. They
Right.
have
Yeah.
multiple lotteries,
Right.
but you also draw, you don't stop at, my understanding is you continue drawing, because if something happens to the first one, then you already have the backup. Is that not how that goes?
Well, they have,
I
they
think
have
it's
a
simpler
couple
than that.
different lotteries
Well,
for
what-
shellfish
Do we have
licenses,
any
so-
idea how much interest we're gonna get?
I don't know.
I-
Do,
I-
do,
really
if you had to guess?
So,
any-
some
I
people
don't
have been
know.
paying the $10 wait list. There are
Oh.
people on
Okay.
this list.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I was, that's
There are
perfect
people on the
information.
list. Some currently, don't necessarily qualify as a resident, so they'd already be in other categories, because you hadn't
Yeah.
had this before.
Right,
We also have not had a form, and the policy says we'll complete a form, so we're trying to get direction from the board so we can, A, complete a form, B, the deadline is coming up for an anchor ad, and we want to get an anchor ad, that's why we asked you to change it to the end of May, so we can advertise, and the new updated policy can be known to
Yeah.
the public.
So in the anchor ad, the criteria will be listed.
So our concern is.
There might be, I don't know how detailed that will be, but it's certainly gonna reference.
Okay.
Our concern is that we have this drawing and the person is not eligible, come to find out. They haven't been
Yeah,
vetted until
that-
afterwards.
That's why Matt and I are saying,
Yeah.
and Dave, the 3 of us are all saying.
So
the
then we
same
gotta do the
thing.
drawing again.
Yeah.
So if we vet them first and they meet all of the criteria, then okay, then they fit, they go, then we have the drawing.
because just to play devil's advocate for an example, anybody that owns a boat can go out and buy a tuna permit and put it on their boat. And you would be a
Exactly.
commercial fishing business on paper, but that doesn't mean that you're actually running a commercial fishing business or marine-related business at all. You could be doing something completely different,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
You could
So,
Yeah. You should get
that's
the state-
why I think they should be
Should we
vetted
define that,
beforehand.
though?
No, I think that's why if you vet them beforehand, you can figure that out pretty easily.
Yeah, So they're not in the running.
And I guess the only other question I have is, maybe I complicated things. Are we
Yeah.
gonna have one lottery, and,
Yeah.
and you pick whoever is a Harpswell resident and taxpayer, you pick, if there's 2 spots?
Yeah, we would have to have, we'd
Two
pick
spots.
from the residents first.
Okay, so you might not get to the other one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
That's
so
true.
you- Does
Let-
that make
let-
sense?
Let the
Yeah,
clerk's
okay.
office do the picking,
Okay,
keep us out of it.
yeah, I don't wanna pick.
yeah.
I don't either.
I don't want any
It's
part of
actually,
that.
the policy already outlines it through the town clerk's office.
Oh, perfect.
So I had one question in all of this. It'd be, in the past, the wharves have been there for quite some time. They've been in the families and all, and now we're talking about leasing the spot. And they can tear the wharf down and put a new wharf in if they want to. Is there any issues with setbacks or anything in there now that they've torn the thing
I
down?
I don't think there's any setback.
I know,
There used
because
to be a lot more wharfs there.
they're
but
shoulder to shoulder now.
Right, so it's a grandfathered
as far as-
structure.
As far as
I'm
the
not
permit
gon-
goes.
And so the property line goes quite a bit up on the hill. They
Yeah.
might hit the property line on the other side, but we've allowed others to rebuild, so I think that that's
Okay.
certainly doable. But I will say, the other clarification that we really,
Ooh, Gesundheit.
that we really did want this evening is, we want to verify and confirm, there is one current wharf leaseholder that is willingly giving it up on his own, as you heard
Yep.
from
Jack.
your interim harbor master at the last meeting. And his wharf is in good condition, and the current wharf holder will, whoever wins the lottery for that space can work with that leaseholder on whatever deal they have between the 2 of them about taking over the wharf or removing it. But I want to confirm the second spot,
Somebody get their hand up?
No, it's the mouse.
It's the mouse.
Oh, yeah.
The mouse has his
Oh,
hand up.
sorry. It looked like a hand.
It was
Yeah,
a
it
hand.
did,
Oh,
Your
yeah.
defense, it was. And it
Sorry.
got you.
Sorry. I go,
No, that, you're right, that was the mouse. I should have had
So,
that down.
So Harold's Wharf probably isn't in very good shape.
It's mostly gone. The
Mostly gone.
the storms
Yeah.
have taken it out.
S-
He has not renewed his lease for the last 2 years. And the policy says if you don't, you're automatically terminated, but this board held off 2 years ago. And so looking for confirmation that you are advertising for 2 spots.
We are,
Yes.
Okay.
we are.
Yeah.
And if he comes in, you deal with him.
But it's possible the person that
I
has to
remember that.
rebuild really,
I was at that
I mean,
meeting.
it's gonna take a while to get a permit, right?
Ooh,
You
we only
know,
have a
so-
year for.
So they,
Right,
they're not gonna
yeah.
have a long
Yeah.
time to.
Well, to rebuild, do you need a permit? You,
Of course.
Yes.
you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole though to rebuild.
As we have found out,
Yeah,
yes.
oh,
If
you
it's more
need
than
permits.
If it's more than 50%.
Oh,
this
no.
one
This is more
Oh,
than
yeah.
50%.
It ain't
Well,
there.
One of them is and one of them isn't.
Right,
One is
one-
there, but
and
the
they
other
can-
one.
Right, they have to work out an agreement, the new
Yeah.
leasee will have to work out an agreement with the prior owner if they wanna buy that wharf from him, or if they wanna
Or-
say it's up to
Right.
you to get it out of there and I wanna build my
Right.
own.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that will have to be a private party deal, we won't be involved.
No, but
But you're right, Chairman Johnson, if the rebuilding does not extend further seaward, they just need, I say just, they do have to go through the codes process,
Yeah.
but not the Wharves and Weirs Act.
right.
Could we, might be opening up, going down a road I don't wanna here.
Yeah, don't do it.
Careful,
I'm hungry.
careful.
I am too, but, would it be beneficial, do you think, to the person that would be taking over that wharf to just initially issue like a 2-year lease to give them the time to rebuild?
So these leases are annual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's only $100 a year.
all right.
It's $100 a year, and then if they have not.
And they could get it done in a year, though.
Probably
I
not
think
this
in-
year.
I think in good faith.
You would renew it.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's true.
You
Yeah.
know, like,
You're not gonna get halfway through and be like,
if
screw
somebody
this.
really
Yeah.
was going through the process and got.
Yeah,
hurt
and
out,
it's only $100. Sorry, I was right.
No,
I
it's a
should have
good
just listened to
question.
Kevin, and I went down a road I didn't want to.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, well, this is much better than it used to be. It used to be, when you're done with the wharf, you lost it, and the town get it back. And what's the town gonna do with it?
Yeah.
But that was, Mr. Chairman, if I may comment on that.
No, you may not.
Oh, go right ahead.
A previous board went through a very detailed process, working with the Conservation Commission, the Recreation Committee, the Town Lands Committee, Harbor and Waterfront Committee, and even Marine Resource Committee, because I fielded all of those emails and surveys back that everybody filled out. And so that board developed a policy that was called the future use of the Oars Island Bridge property. And it was that board at that time, and it sustained, and it stood for many, many years until Mr. Chairman became on this board, that policy would be that as, we weren't kicking anybody out, but as people ceased using it, we would not, the space would be empty, and then our harbor master, who so desperately wanted to have a place there, it would become town-owned use wharf there, and it would be for town uses. And so, but this is a different, boards can change different things, so this is the current board's policy.
They even looked at to see if it had a nice beach. So,
Very much.
get those wharves out of there, we'll enjoy the beach. No, it doesn't have a beach.
Quite a bit of current there too.
Oh, so how'd we finish up?
Yeah, are we good on that one?
I lost track.
You
I
happy?
think so, I think,
Do we need to vote on anything? Motion anything?
Not
I don't know
yet.
what it is
I-
anymore.
Not yet,
Crazy
not
how
till
we
they,
created multiple lotteries, but but they might both go in that first
Right.
round. Yeah.
we'll vote on whatever they might write in the
Yeah,
future, right?
yeah.
We will work
We
in
can-
the language.
And we'll bring it
and-
back to you
If we
for
confuse
review.
you enough, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring it back for review.
Thank you.
However, the ad may need to be put in the anchor deadline prior to your meeting on the 23rd, so we will keep
That's
that
fine. I think.
referencing coming,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
coming to the
we-
website to see the final policy.
I don't think it won't change the ad at all. There's still gonna be 2 open spots there, no matter what, you know?
But we may briefly say the priority, so people
Yeah.
know that if you're If you're a non-resident, you have 2 categories ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
All right. We're good then?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
so no motion tonight.
We'll bring it back with the
Oh, okay.
corrections before they approve it. How's
We'll be
that?
ready.
Okay, yeah, okay.
All right. One more chance at confusion.
Yeah.
Treasurer's report.
Good evening, Terry Gaudette, the town's treasurer, here to report on the town's finances as of March 31st, 2026. As the board's aware, our year end is 12/31, and then we go through preparing our financials and having our audit. So I don't do a monthly report in January and February, so this is on the first quarter of the year. As of March 31st, we had just under $4.8 million available in our cash balances. Our 2025 taxes outstanding was just over $87,000. Other years' outstanding taxes was $26,000, and that's including the liens for the 2024 tax year, which would be subject to foreclosure in December if they remain unpaid. We have about 24 liens right now. 4 are for trailers, and I'm in the middle process of getting some legal advice on the trailers, but this board may recall that the past board's policies have been not to foreclose on a lien where an owner owns the trailer but not the land underneath it, because it became costly to the town. We would get things not in good condition and have to remove it. That may not be an option anymore, so stay tuned for some changes in the laws there and some legal input to come on that.
It's going to be expensive.
Well, so it wouldn't be subject to the past years because we have not foreclosed on those, and we would not be able to foreclose on this one because we have not done our we have not pursued the owners the way that we do on the real estate property, but it would be implementing for the 2025 liens if there are changes, so just stay tuned for that.
Terry, how many liens did you say, 2024 liens?
We have 24 right now, but 4 are for trailers, so 20 real estate.
Oh, okay, thank you.
On the revenue and expense side, non-property tax revenue available to reduce taxes is at 22.1%, just a little below 1/4 at $714,000. The single largest source of revenue other than property taxes, excise tax, is less than 2025, but the first quarter is always the slowest in excise tax, so we are expecting that to pick up. And mooring and shellfish license revenues reflect, 45% of moorings and almost 100% of shellfish, actually 88.5, but it's because there's some prepaid payments that need to be moved, so it's almost 100% of the shellfish licenses of the forecast, as the dates are May 1 for moorings and March 31 for shellfish licenses. The first annual installment under the transfer station tower lease was received. The one at Mitchell Field was received this time last year. That's why you see a discrepancy there, but that is expected. Revenue sharing is also less than 2025, but also has a very slow turn down in the first quarter. As the Select Board is aware, the budget was approved by voters on March 14th, and the town was authorized to spend an amount not to exceed 3/12 of the 2025 budget, and we did not introduce new expenses. And staff is diligently working on new expenses with the budget approved. Some expenditures appear to be greater than 25% due to the timing of contract payments, such as to Midcoast Humane, approved at the last meeting, law enforcement, marine patrol, paramedics, and snow removal based on the contract payment schedule. And the board discussed the town's heating assistance program earlier, and while the expenses show that it's 40% expended on the carryover, on your revenue side, we have another $45,000 that we've received that's not reflected in the carryovers because it's current year revenues. But that is something that you'll want to be careful of as we work through some changes, because there was no town appropriation, and it's really being funded on donations at this point, which have been so generous, and the town and its residents have been so fortunate to have such donors. 2026 reserve expenditures include a new vehicle to Cumberland County, engineering relating to Ocean Street, Mitchell Field Boat Launch, and the Central Emergency Services Building that you met about earlier. And the board all received its appropriation control report, revenue control report, and trial balance. As always, my door's open if there's any questions from the public or the board.
Thanks, Terry. Oh, good. Authorization of the warrants.
I move we authorize those warrants.
I second that we authorize them.
All in favor?
Hey,
Public comment? Other business?
you guys all set on the workshops and the goals and all that stuff?
Well, I'm gonna send you some
Okay.
possible dates, and we'll get things filled in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, we're adjourned.